Okay, guys, there's a video out: trans men versus conservative men. Um, wanted to watch it on here. Look, the reason I even watch some of these or share some of these is because this has a lot to do with what's going on in the world today. This trans stuff, like it's everywhere. A lot of the BLM donations were for a lot of these different organizations. So that being said, I just wanted to show you guys different things, different topics that are being brought up because this type of stuff is really going everywhere. Right? So let's check out.
If you agree with the prompt, masculinity is disappearing in America.
I think that masculinity is disappearing. I think that it's a concerted effort to emasculate men. I think that some people feel threatened by masculinity and the typical way that men carry themselves, leading families and different things like that. So I think that there's an effort to mitigate strong men in America.
There's a few different ways to think about masculinity, but just looking at the definition of the term 50 years ago, you had people like John Wayne, you had Martin Luther King, you had Sean Connery. You think of like masculine features as in beards, hairy chest, big muscles, think stoic, being brave, being rugged, being a provider. Today you have people like Harry Styles and Timothy Chalamet. You have people that are completely contrary to what we were looking at back then, and those values of those masculine characteristics are completely devalued.
I do believe that masculinity is going downhill, especially if you look at like testosterone levels. Now the testosterone levels for guys is going down compared to generations before us. So yeah,
Yeah, it's going downhill. That's why you have a lot of these movies and these shows that are trying to take the man out of the household, man out of the family picture. You know, a lot of different shows they don't, you know what I mean? It's, a lot of the households they'll show, well, probably have two moms or no dad, just taking it out.
agree.
This is your last chance.
And if you really think about it, even when it comes to
To
the
save
whole
big
trans
before the end of the
woman
year,
thing,
on top of the
a lot
line
of men are
employee
turning
equipment
to
to
women,
start your business.
or many men
There's
are
no
turning
better
into women, right? So it's like, it's time for men to be men again. Amen. And shout out to the men who, never stopped.
Hi, I'm Gilbert. I'm 24 years old and I'm a conservative man.
Also, they're trying to take away female identity. Like, let's not get that confused. Like, that too. You know, they're trying to take that away, take it away from women's sports, all kind of different things, man. Like, sad.
With my beliefs and having a trans man as my friend, we don't really talk about politics. Someone being trans doesn't make me like them any less of a person. As far as pronouns, when referring to my friend, I don't really use the pronouns that my friend would want. I just say my friend or I say their name, just because I feel like I'm giving into the narrative that men can be women and women can be men if I use the pronouns that they want.
I do see that masculinity is under attack.
Guys, I show these type of videos I've been showing these type of videos with the trans things because this is what's taking over the world right now. If you don't want to watch it, you don't have to. This is what's trying to take over. Most of the whole BLM donations went to trans organizations. Maybe you're just not looking deep enough or going hard enough into truth. But this type of stuff needs to be exploited the way it actually is and what's really going on. If you don't want to watch it, you don't have to. But we need to, as far as this side needs to see it, because this type of stuff will take over their algorithm without us even knowing, and then it's just getting blown up without us even knowing. So that's why I show it.
completely, but my definition of masculinity, like you said, has a lot to do with the traits that are associated with it. As a gay man, I mean, of all of us, I mean, I'm not the most masculine man, but I do think that the good aspects of masculinity are definitely under attack, but I don't think that it's disappearing. It's just being channeled in different ways.
It depends on how you look at it, because a lot of the traits can also be embodied in women and femininity. So when we look at masculinity, I think
that's a woman turned, that's a trans man.
That we have to also look at what is the actual definition of femininity and masculinity.
We've reached a point where we could just, I would never guess that. Now, a trans woman, most of the time I know when I'm looking at a trans woman. You know what I mean? They got a little Adam's apple right here, first of all. But trans men, like I would never guess that's a woman. Lord have mercy. That's wild.
And if we're defining masculinity by being stoic or muscles or body parts, then is it really masculinity?
A lot of times when you guys spoke about masculinity, you associate it with men being manly, but I think more women are embracing their masculinity. Masculinity is still there. I mean, just other genders are using it. Being courageous, being powerful, more women are standing in their power, which is again associated with masculine, but it's not specific to just men. Women are no longer submissive, they're dominant. Women don't need men, and I think that most of America is realizing that anyone can be powerful on their own.
I believe
women don't need men. Everybody can be powerful on their own. Listen, we each play a part. Men and women play a part with each other. Amen. So this whole mindset, they're lost. They're in the dark. They're in the dark.
I believe that the masculine traits are inherently in men, and men have to take a position. You made a really good point by saying women are now becoming more masculine. They feel as if they don't need men, which I think is the problem here. I think that the way we've been designed by God, in my opinion, is that men are to lead, men are to be strong, men are to be brave. Men have to take their rightful position. The way our country has been structured to this point have been because of strong men who have taken a stand, who have fought wars. Now I feel like it's getting so lopsided that our families are degrading. People don't know where they're at in this country.
Now in 2022, masculinity is being redefined. And I think what happens is people get upset when things start to change.
Yeah, when you start trying to change God's order, there's going to be a problem. That's a woman too. Lord have mercy. The left side is women, the right side are men. You would never guess that. Wow. Yeah, when you start trying to change God's order, it's going to be a problem. You try to change God's creation. God does not make a mistake. You are meant to be a woman. Now, you thinking that you're something else is a mental, that's a problem you have within. So when you come into a point where you want to change yourself, but not only that, but want to change the world with you, yeah, it's going to be an issue.
Nobody ever wants to take that away from men. I think that what we want to do in the world now is start to understand what is masculinity. And it's always been really associated with this very machismo space. And now there's different kinds of men in the world. There's not just biological men. There's also trans men or people who want to be masculine. So I think what's happening now is people are pushing against change because change is scary and people don't understand. And so I think men, biological men, feel under attack. When I think that's not what's happening here.
The point that you made is
they don't understand that the change that they're trying to make is not only scary, it's demonic. If we're going spiritual with it, people, like, come on. It's a demonic agenda behind it. It's evil influence that people don't really necessarily know that because they don't dive into their scriptures. They don't dive into the spiritual aspect of the world. They're too busy caught up in this carnal matrix. They don't even know who God is.
Is 100% correct. There are different phases and people are experiencing in different ways. The feminist movement is, I think they are attacking masculinity within men. I don't want a man to open the door for me. I don't need a man in my life. I can do all of these different things. What they're doing is attacking men, and that's what's causing the problem.
What part of the feminist group feels like it's attacking? Because I know that most feminism is like wanting equal pay or
Well, you just said that women not needing men is somehow empowering. You know, having a man is somehow less empowering, or being an individual is somehow less
But that's how
empowering.
women feel.
Right.
Women actually are saying that because that's how they feel. It's as
But
if,
that's not how every woman feels.
but
That,
no one's
that's just
saying
an
every woman.
assumption
They're
of
only
how
women speak for themselves. So
Right.
all of you are going to have different opinions as biological men.
Is that how the women feel? Ladies in the chat, is that how the women feel? Or are they speaking for a certain side? Clearly they're speaking for a certain side. They're in full men, they're in full men costume. We're gonna call this a costume because that's exactly what it is. Listen, that's exactly what it is. This is a full costume.
And
Absolutely.
women all have different opinions. Oh, you see a very specific group of women saying this.
I mean, you did just say that's how women feel. So are you speaking on behalf of all
No,
women?
no, I'm not. Let me take that back. So, the women who are saying that feel that way.
Why do you feel that women in general feel disempowered?
No, I don't think in general. No. That's a generalized statement. You can't say that. I said
you're
the
the one-
women. No, I
you
did
said
not. I
women
said the
feel
women who
disempowered.
say that.
You associated somehow that women are now embracing masculinity, which means that they are now more empowered because they don't need a man. Or
Right.
if
When
they're
men feel empowered when women need
But
them.
I don't think that women's empowerment comes from having a man or not having a man. So why is it always associated that, a woman's now empowered because she doesn't need a man? A woman has always been empowered. Women have never been.
But they've never felt
That's
that.
not
empowered.
true.
I mean,
That's
if
not
we go
true.
back to the 1920s, if you're going to do that, but that's not
But
what
of
we're talking
course,
about.
you
We're
have-
talking about society right now.
Right now, you actually think women are empowered right now?
Absolutely, women are empowered.
Who's the vice president?
And how long did it take for her to become a vice president, though?
You know what's interesting? Like, this is supposed to be a man and man conversation, but really it's a conversation with men and women.
There is a right and wrong way to be a man. Take a second to think about it.
With Create Studio
So-
Pro, you can create amazing 3D character explainers.
It's a women and man conversation. They want to make it seem like it's a man having a conversation with another man, but really it's a man having a conversation with a woman that is dressed as a man. That's what it really is.
I think that when I originally heard the question being asked, I didn't agree with it, but men are not abusive individuals. Men are not to be cowards. Men are to lead their families. And men who do not display that, I don't believe that they are men, in my opinion. And all of the qualities that I see in my father is what I believe a man should be.
All of those characteristics are what make a man. And when I see a man be a coward in the truth, in just speaking the truth, or sticking up for what's right, especially today in America with everything going on, I'm like, those are not men. My name is Clarkson. I'm 24 years old, and I'm a conservative man. My biggest question for the other side really is, are you happy? Anybody that wants to fundamentally change society and change gender roles, to me, that's not happiness. And if we want to fight for acceptance, we need to start with acceptance.
And listen, they don't even tell you about the people who detransition. There are many. They don't want to show that, though. They don't want to put that on the big screen. They don't want to put that on the media. And a lot of them are very, very regretful that they made decisions that they can't take back. So when you have doctors out here who are willing to commit a full sex change for a child, it should show you how demonic that actually is.
Which is accepting society for what it is.
At the end of the day, we're all men, and I don't believe there's any wrong way to be a man. We're just redefining what it means.
Hold on. She just said at the end of the day, we're all men. We're just redefining what it means to be a man. No, it doesn't work like that. You don't redefine God's creation. You are not God. That's the problem. Too many of these people trying to play God when they're not God.
to be a man.
But there are things that naturally come to men. So when you say we're just redefining what being a man is,
Right.
you have to understand you're redefining a fabric in society that has kept the human race and got it to where it is today. So just like aimlessly throwing out, oh, well, we're just redefining what it is to be a man. That's not just like a light subject that we should be talking about.
But why do you think it
There
has to stay the same?
Yeah.
Why do we need to have the same thing for hundreds and hundreds of years?
Do you not see the state
it's not the same
of,
thing. It's just,
just
it's
said.
keeping the same qualities.
but do you see the state of
Boy,
our
oh
world
boy.
today? It's not perfect. It's been led by men like throughout all of history, and look where it's gone.
So we're talking about
I'm sorry?
redefining what it means to be a man. So what do you want to bring to traditional men?
I think it's embracing that you can be vulnerable. I think that a lot of men want to portray strength, 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 but men are people, and I know that men have feelings.
Being a man and masculinity, those are two different things. And I believe that we can redefine whatever that means to anybody by
Yeah, man can be vulnerable. Nobody's saying man can't be vulnerable. But when you get vulnerable to the point where you want to put on a wig and start taking shots and cut off certain parts of your body, that's a different type of vulnerable.
including other types of men or other types of masculinity. I myself am a father. I have a child. Some people would disagree with me being a father because I am transgender.
Okay, so he was one of the transgenders that had a baby. My question is, did the baby come out of? I just said he. Lord have mercy. They didn't got me. They didn't got me. Oh my Lord! This person right here says that they're a father. So either they had a baby, or one of them people that they say trans men can get pregnant. They say men can get pregnant because trans men can get pregnant.
But that being said, I present to the world as male. My child sees me as a man.
There's proper ways to be vulnerable, right? You don't have to break down in front of your family and cry. It's okay to suffer silence as well. Strong men, I believe, exude the qualities that you guys are referring to. I think the problem is overcorrection, right? Some people believe that men need to cry and lay on the ground and be feminine like women. My name is Brandon. I'm 34 years old, and I'm a conservative man. I had a lot of curiosities about what it's like to be a person who believes that they're a trans man. I feel like God has created all of us very uniquely. And although I have beliefs and I follow the Bible to the T, I still want to know from other people what their experiences are. Doesn't mean I have to agree, but I really want to know what other people are feeling from the person who's experiencing it real time.
I have male privilege.
Listen, I don't want to sound like a bad person, nothing like that, you guys, but coming into agreement with this type of stuff is coming into agreement with demonic agendas. Let's just throw that out there. Let's just be completely honest. I don't care how it makes, well, let's not say that, because I do care about people's feelings, but when it comes to truth, it doesn't matter. Nobody should be compromising truth because of somebody's emotions. Because at the end of the day, when you compromise truth for emotions, you're hurting that person more than helping them.
Oh, sorry.
I've lived both lives, and I can tell you firsthand that it does exist. I am taken much more seriously in my career since I've transitioned as a man. Prior to transitioning, I would work just as hard, if not harder, for the same position and not be considered. The minute that I transition, I am immediately taken more seriously. I can give you an example. Obviously, with COVID, there's like the mask mandate, right? So I have to tell customers all the time, it needs to do up your nose, right? All day. My manager, who's above me, who is a woman, will have to go to them, tell them they give her a fight. But the minute I just look in their direction, it's up. It doesn't seem like a privilege, but it is, because now my manager has to work 3 times harder for something that's so simple.
I think the word privilege is the thing that turns a lot of people off with this conversation. But that being said, again, myself living my life as a female, pretty much half my life, and then now half my life as a man, there is no way I could not be honest about the fact that my life has changed drastically. Also being a white man, that's also a conversation a lot of people don't want to have. But I have privilege of being white and privilege also of being a man now. I can walk into any room and command that room in a heartbeat because people just do that with men. And I think the thing is that biological men are born into that space, so they'll never ever see it. Why do we now, as women who have become men, get to have this thing? It's 100% because we are men. We look like men. Nobody would ever know. No one would ever know that we used to be women. So it's
You got
actually
me.
a real lived experience.
You got me. They got me for sure. So
At 3 small
I
business
can't be
we've
getting
made
mixed up,
3
you
big
guys,
improvements
with
to the
the
industry
he and
standard.
she.
First,
Some of them might not even have their pronouns be he. If they're one of those, different people want their pronouns to be demon and frog. I showed y'all those videos. It gets real out here.
I agree with.
I can't believe we're in this space. I can't believe we are in this space in the world. Lord have mercy. Where we having a conversation with actual men, with women who taken shots and medicated themselves to look like men about men. What's going on here?
A lot of what you all are saying as far as like transitioning. But as a black man, privilege looks way different for me, because if I'm walking down the street, then I'm seen as a threat by police, by women, by anybody else. Being seen as a man is where my privilege stops and where everything else begins. So I don't see it as privilege.
Okay, I got a lot to say about this topic here. And first of all, I mean, we have to be transparent and honest with each other. I think that not everybody on this side presents 100% like a man. Like if I saw you in the streets, I wouldn't think you were a man. Men have it really hard in this world, and they've always had it hard in this world. The wars have been fought by men. They've died in the hundreds of thousands. Men commit suicide more. Men work more the dangerous jobs.
Isn't it interesting?
If somebody broke in this place.
Like, it's crazy because he just said, if I seen you in the streets, I wouldn't think you're a man. And that probably hurt her feelings. Isn't that crazy? To say a woman, you don't think a woman is a man, probably hurt her feelings. How do we get here?
Place right now, who they're going to expect to defend everybody in here is going to be the men. If your family fails, they're not looking at your wife. They're looking at the man. I just want people to understand that there's some advantages that men have, and then also men do struggle in custody and all kinds of different things.
100%. I 100% agree with you as a man now, right? But what I think my perception of it is different than yours, because you were born male, you were raised male, you have a whole other space in that, and I totally respect your opinion on that, and I believe that that is a true lived experience as a born man.
Yeah, and let me add with the black man, because we have a total different reality in that. I don't, in no way, form, or fashion, do I go into a room and I feel like I'm less than. I think I command presence when I go into a room because the way I'm dressed, and I'm tall. I go in the streets. I've never had a person cross the street. I've never been attacked by a police officer. I was a police officer. I've been pulled over probably 3 times in my entire life.
I mean, my biggest question with this and why I don't necessarily agree with it is because when it comes to privilege, there's not really a way to quantify it. It's very subjective. So like your version of male privilege and your version of male privilege are very different.
So it's hard to see the other side because you never lived it.
Yeah.
The difference between you and us is we see it because we've lived it. You have not. So it's easy to speak and be like, well, it doesn't exist. Well, how would you know?
Well, I'm not saying it doesn't exist. I think everybody has certain privileges, but what I think the question here is what defines male privilege over women? Because women have privileges too. So is there a graph that you guys are calculating to make men have more than women, or what?
The privilege is not acknowledging what you have. It comes so easy.
So do you think that your fear, because you live both sides,
Right.
do you think your fear is something that you have in your mind, or you think it's a
No.
reality? Because
No.
let me say this: you never really changed as a person. You're the same person.
Right,
that you
exactly.
were. So you have the same physical capabilities that you did
No.
when you were a woman.
No.
You don't?
My strength is entirely different.
Well,
after taking
what
hormones.
percentage would you say?
More than 100%.
Okay.
I weigh
Oh my Lord.
like 100 pounds. Now I weigh like
you're still
133.
not probably as strong as me.
But it's not about strength. It's that
Or-
women are targeted. Men are not targeted. I mean, maybe sometimes. When I say it's never going to
They're
happen.
targeted by other men. Most of the
Right.
homicides
But women
occurred
are
in this
targeted by
country are
other
homicides
men. I think women
Say it
have
again, I'm sorry.
less of a safe space.
I
That's what I'm
disagree.
talking about.
Men don't have a safe space. If you go to certain
But I'm talking
cities,
about a
they
specific,
get murdered by
okay,
other
but I'm not
men.
talking about certain cities.
More
I'm
so
talking
than
about
women.
everyday life.
Yeah, every day.
Not
I think
certain
that's a
cities.
Have
blanket
you ever
statement.
have you been attacked as a woman?
I have.
Right.
I've been raped. I've been attacked. I can go on and on and on. I was homeless, living in the streets, raped all the time.
This is a discussion with men and women, but women who have put on these outfits of men, and it's a discussion with men and women about. I the only one confused here?
It happens. It's a real thing. I didn't see the guys on the street getting raped.
But men do get raped.
100%. But the experience of
Do you get catcalled down the street? Like,
I mean, women say things to me. When I was a
Do you
police
feel
officer.
do you feel threatened? You feel empowered though, right?
No, I don't feel. I feel that.
But do you feel scared? Do you feel threatened when a woman
But I
catcalls
don't.
you?
No, I don't. And I don't feel threatened if a man
Right.
try to
Because
challenge
you have
me.
that male privilege.
Right. But as a
what
woman,
if a
it's
man?
different.
What if a man was whistling at you when you were walking down the street?
I've had it happen to me. I had gay men whistle to me,
Then how
but
does that make you feel?
I don't care.
Okay, cool.
I mean, as long as you don't touch me, we cool.
Right.
You may think I'm attractive.
Right, and
It's
I
fine.
think-
It's cool. I
I
get it.
think women will say the same thing, as long as you're not like trying to be predatory. And I've seen it because I go to clubs with my friends who are girls, and I have to tell the men to literally leave them alone because they keep going and they're predatory and they're literally scouting out for women that are drunk or whatever, not even drunk. She could say no 1,000 times and they're still going to bother her. But the minute that I say something, they stop.
Women are not as strong as men and they get targeted. Sure, yes, that is a privilege that men have over women, but that doesn't mean that men have privilege because of that one situation. Men commit suicide way more than women do.
Because if we're gonna go that route, trans men commit suicide twice the
right,
rate.
but that's
Oh my goodness.
Not generally.
I think what's important.
Okay, so you're admitting that trans men are women. That's basically what he was just trying to say right now. Well, if we're gonna go that route, trans men commit suicide way more than men. Okay, so now you're admitting that trans men aren't men. Lord
Is
have
to
mercy.
distinguish the fact that yes, no one is negating the
I
fact
don't know. I wish I
that
could take
women
this
get
one
preyed
off.
on. You know, there's situations where this happens, right? Like no one's going to deny that. But we're also just trying to say that it's not like a one-sided coin here, where there's no like men are just, you know, we just have it good and we can do whatever we want.
I do
We
not
can't
believe that's
even
true.
we can't even be the next Supreme Court justice because you know it's like
But you know, I live as a man, so I see the difference. Now.
Yeah.
When I said I have privilege and I walk into a room, of course, but then there's other things that are expected of me now as a man that I would never knew were expected.
so
of
would
me.
you guys agree that there's such thing as female privilege?
Oh, sure, 100%.
My wife has privilege because she has me.
That's right.
So she don't have to worry about her
Right
safety
on.
because I'm there.
I don't believe that as a man, it's like, you know, there's marketing for women-owned brands. I can't be the next Supreme Court justice. Like women are very much more empowered today, which I think is, I don't have no problem with it. I mean, like, good for you. But I think that the man I probably have privilege because I'm, you know, 6 foot 210. Like no one's picking on me when I walk down the street. You know, I used to live in Chicago and I used to walk home all the time at night, but like, was that smart? Probably not, but I felt a little safe because, you know, I'm not 5 foot 100 pounds. I'm max 29.
All right, y'all. We're going to come back to this one.
Women and
We're going to come back to this one later, you guys. I just wanted to show y'all that real quick. But, yeah, that was getting, head start getting in loops. So we're going to take a break from that one, come back to it later, you guys. Getting my day started over here, so I pray you guys have a good day. Amen. And I'll be back on here later, you guys. Hold on real quick. All right, y'all. Yeah, so, yeah, that was wild. In all actuality, trans women are men. I mean, trans men are women. I'm sorry. Listen, that may hurt a feeling or two, but trans men are women. Biological women are women. Biological men are men. You cannot change that. God created you to be who you are. God does not make mistakes when he creates you. Amen. I love you guys. God bless.